He comes from a merchant family, but his parents died in an accident. Seems like he's had a rough life. Despite all that, he's just about the most cheerful guy you'll ever meet. His passions are training, eating, and actually that's about it.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Sane, and today we are going back to unit reviews, and today's edition is going to be about Raphael, the big hulking son of a gun from the Golden Deer route. This character recommendation was given to me by a good friend, Hobo Joe. So shout outs to Hobo Joe for the idea. He said, try Raphael, he's fun to try to make good. And I wouldn't necessarily say he's fun to try to make good, because making him good's not too easy, but hey, that's what this video is about. So let's take a look at Raphael. Let's take a look at what he is good for, what he is not so good for, and if you want to use him, and how you should be using him. As well as at the end of the video, I will give an example build of what I would say is his most useful thing, and this is all taken considering Fresh File, a Maddening Road, and everything in between. So yeah, let's get started with it. So first off, I want to talk about let's first off talk about some of the weaknesses of Raphael. Why he's so not great, I guess. Let's start with that. Let's start with the weak points, and then we'll get to the strengths later on. So part of the reason Raphael is not so great is first off, his base stats are not that great. Like, his base stats are just not great. So at level 1, if you pick the Golden Deer house, you'll join at level 1, and his base stats are 30 HP, 11 strength, 3 magic, 5 dexterity, 6 speed, 6 luck, 7 defense, 1 resistance, and 4 charm. Now the standout stats here are, in the good ways, like in the good stats here, are HP and strength. You know, it's a lot of HP to work with, and that's some pretty good strength. Especially at level 1. You know, 11 strength is nothing to scoff at. Now, everything else is not great. 7 defense is not horrible, but for a tanky unit like him, should be 8. Like, he should have 8 defense. Or 9. You know, that 8 or 9 would be really good for him. But 7's not the best. It's not horrible, but it's not the best. 6 speed isn't horrendous. Could be worse, but it's not good. 5 dex isn't great. His resistance is just laughable, and his charm is nothing good for him either. He also has a very laughable personal skill. It is luck percentage based, and he has a chance to recover 10% of his max HP at the start of each turn. His luck stat is 6, so he has a 6% chance to gain 10% HP at the start of each turn, and his luck growth is 35, so he's gonna get, by level 10, he'll maybe get 4 level ups in luck, so maybe he'll have a 10% chance to gain only 10% back of his HP at the start of each turn. So you're not going to be relying on Goodie Basket at all. His personal skill is next to useless, and so that's not a great thing for him. Next, let's look at his proficiencies and weaknesses. He has proficiency in Axe and a starting rank of E+ in Axe. He has a proficiency in Brawling and starting at D, and he has proficiency in Heavy Armor and starts at D for that. You will want to train up his axes to at least D+ or C, so you can get into Brigand for Deathblow, of course, and then the rest of him, you are just going to set him and forget him in Brawling, get his gauntlets up, and use him that way. You can train up his Heavy Armor if you'd like. You get weight -3, get weight -5, and eventually get Smite. The combat art that pushes an ally 2 spaces forward. You can get that if you want to. That's more a personal choice. It's good, but it's not like you're missing out on a lot of things if you don't have it. He has a weakness in bows, which is a bit of an issue because he does not have good dexterity, both either in base or growth. So you're going to want to get him into Archer and master that to get hit +20 as soon as possible for his better hit rates. But, I mean, getting from E to C, or even just D+, even if you have a weakness in it, isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's not really great. And he has neutral and flying, so if you really want to take him into Wyvern Rider, Wyvern Lord, you can. Like, it's easier to do. It's not like hard to do. But I don't think he fits really well in that role, and we'll get to his class line later. Let's take let's take a peek at his growth rates. He's got 65 HP, which is really good. 50% strength, which is great. 15% in magic. Look at his spells. You're not going to be using magic with him. Don't worry about that. 35 in dex. 15 in speed. 35 in luck. 45 in defense. 10% resistance. And 25% in charm. So if we go back and look at his base stats, his strength by level 10 will probably get another 5 level up, so he'll probably have around 16 strength or so. He'll have great strength, he'll have great HP. His defense will be above average. He'll be pretty tanky. His speed will, on average, get 1 to 2 points, so he'll have 8 speed at best, realistically, at level 10. That is horrendous. His resistance is also going to be level 2 on average at level 10. The 2 resistance means he's going to get dumped on by any kind of magic. That's not good. That is a big weakness. There's a big hole in his gameplay. Just like all tanks. He's like, if you look at his stat builds and his base stats, he's pretty stereotypical like fighter, and you know, your armor knights and stuff from other entries. So he's basically, and like none of those classes are really that great, which is, you know, not really saying a lot for him. Real quick, before we get into his combat arts and classes, I want to take a look at Dedu, who is a very similar unit to him. They're pretty often compared for being early game tanks who fall off but can soak up a lot of damage. So Dedu's base stats are strictly better. He's got 1 point above him in strength, same HP, equal dex, a point above him in speed, and a point above him in defense. He's only got 1 point less in luck, and luck's not really a big factor. Dedu also has 5% higher defense growth, 5% lower HP growth, but that's around the same. Same strength, same magic, slightly worse dex, but it's around the same. A little bit higher speed, but around the same. So their growths are basically the same. But his base stats are a lot better, and his personal skills a lot more useful, which gives you +4 defense if you choose to wait, which isn't great because you have to wait. Like, you don't really do anything that turn. You basically wait a turn, but you at least can soak up damage better that way. So, in terms of just bases and everything, Dedu just outshines Raphael in that regard. But this is videos about Raphael, so let's get back to him. So let's take a look at his combat arts. Now this is actually where we see the worst in him, but we also see kind of his clutch factor, I guess. What you can do with him. So he doesn't really have anything special in lances, bows, or swords. In axes, he gets Wild Abandon, which is not a good combat art because it gives you -30 avoid. You might say, oh, it gives you +30 crit. Okay, well, his dexterity is horrible. Or -30 hit, I mean. His dexterity is horrible, so unless you're really doing some like crit shenanigans, you're not going to have great crit with him. Also, -30 hit. Like, the only person who can use Wild Abandon really is Petra because of her easy way to get easy access to hit +20 and her great dexterity stat. But even then, it's not a good skill. Lowering hit is a bad idea. It's never a good combat art. So axes don't give him any favors. But if we look at brawling, he's actually got something very interesting in Monster Crusher. What Monster Crusher does is it's 13 might. It's a lot of might. +10 hit, which is great. +10 crit, which is nice. It's effective effective damage against monster units, and he's the only character who can learn this. And he gets that C+. This is a 13 might combat art with his 11 base strength and 50% growth. 13% might, or 13 might, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage for a single blow on Raphael. And that's very, very good. So pair this with a class such as Grappler, Warmonk, or Warmaster that has Fist Fair, he's going to be doing a lot of damage from Monster Crusher. Not only that, but he also gets Draining Blow, which can help him kind of keep his, well, everyone gets Draining Blow, but Draining Blow can help him tank a little bit easier, you know, restore some HP. That way he's not just getting obliterated by everything, you know, he can kind of heal himself up a little bit, so he's not so much of a liability. One last thing that's a really, really big highlight of Raphael is that he has Rally Strength at D Authority. Now he comes with I think it's just an E rank in Authority at base, so you will have to train that up 2 levels, so it doesn't get that immediately, but he gets it pretty early, and Rally Strength is really, really nice, especially on like a frontliner unit. The only other Rally Strength user who's really relevant is Annette, who of course comes with it, so he loses in that regard, but still, having Rally Strength is really, really good. And that helps his utility out a little bit. So let's take a look at his class lines and what the best class lines are going to be for him. So obviously he's a high damage dealing, high defense, high HP unit. So you want him into something where he can soak up hits as well as possible, as well as dish out as much like single hit damage as possible, because he's never going to get doubled. Because he's never going to double, and he's going to get doubled by pretty much everything. So you want to start him out in Brigand and get Deathblow, of course. And you're going to want to work through that bow weakness and get him hit plus 20. He's really going to need that hit increase. Like, he's really going to need it. And from there, you want to go straight into Grappler. You can take him into Fortress Knight if you really, really want to. I don't think it's his best class. I think there's only one class he's really, really good for, and that's Grappler. You don't get a lot of service out of Axis from him, but you get a lot of service from Monster Crusher, and as well as Fierce Iron Fist, which is just a crazy, crazy combat art, which is 3 consecutive strikes. Only plus 1 might, but that's 3 hits from 50% strength increase. And Fist Fair, so that's going to be a lot of damage. You also definitely service from getting your axes up and just going into War Master to grab Quick Riposte, which is just an amazing ability, which gives you, if your HP is above 50%, your attack speed is higher if the foe initiates combat on you, so basically lets him negate his speed, negates his terrible speed on enemy phase, which just helps him out a lot. But after you master War Master, you're gonna want to go back into Grappler class. Now, why do I say go back into Grappler class? You were just in a Master's class. You go back because the whole point of Raphael is to mitigate his speed with Fierce Iron Fist, which doesn't take your speed into consideration. You attack 3 times, blow something up, and then on enemy phase, you rely on Quick Riposte to mitigate your speed and give you more attack speed anyways, and you double him. Then he's going to have high defense anyways, high HP anyways, so he'll be able to take some hits and he won't get doubled. And that is the whole use of Raphael. Is just dish out big damage. He's got Rally Strength if you need it. He's got Monster Crusher to deal out some huge damage to, enemy monsters and big bosses, like early game against the Black Beast on Chapter 5. And just a lot of chapters in early game, there's a couple of them that have a lot of monsters. And depending on what route you're on, like if you're in Silver Snow or Crimson Flower, you're going to be fighting a lot of monsters. Pretty much every route, honestly, fights a good amount of monsters, so he definitely comes in clutch there, doing a lot of damage that way. The few other options I would recommend for him is, of course, you can take him Wyvern Rider and Wyvern Lord. Again, he doesn't really service from Axe Fair as much, but you can still do it if you really, really want to. You could also take him to Fortress Knight if you just want to max out his defense and HP, make him as tanky as possible. Just know that he will be getting doubled in this, so his tankiness actually might not be quite as well as if you're in something like a War Master with Quick Riposte, so he doesn't get doubled. And then lastly, you can, if you really want to give him some more Void, you can take him into the War Monk, give him Brawl of Void. I don't think this is necessary, just because his speed isn't good anyways, so it doesn't really matter how much Avoid you give him. He's not going to have good Avoid rates anyways. So just focus your efforts on maxing out his damage output. If you want to, you could even take him into Armor Knight for a little while, give him Armored Blow, so that he takes less damage so he gets +6 damage when he initiates combat on player phase. So in case the Fierce Iron Fist doesn't kill, or the Monster Crusher doesn't kill, he takes less damage in return. And yeah, so I'll give this quick little slide of where I put all of the important things together, in case you guys want to look at this a little bit more. Should have had this up sooner, but yeah. Last little summary of Raphael. Grappler is by far and above his best class. Fortress Knight and War Master are 2 other options, but Grappler with Fierce Iron Fist is just so much better. He really just wants to focus on gauntlets and focus on his brawling. You want to get his axe up to at least C so that you can get him Death Blow, and you want to eventually get it up if you want to get into War Master for quick riposte. So you want to work on the axes, but that's pretty easy since he only needs 2 things really, and you only need to get his authority up to D. So you give him Rally Strength, and you can honestly leave him there. He can use D Gambits, D rank battalions pretty well. I mean, so there's some solid D rank and E rank battalions that he can use. If you really want to, you can train him up in heavy armor to give him Smite. I don't think he benefits from weight -3 and weight -5 that much, just because those are only really good for a character who's going to be speedy. You know, someone like Hilda, or Edelgard, or Ferdinand, or Sylvain. The weight -5 can basically take the weight off their heavy axes or their steel lances, or you can let them equip like a steel shield for free or something like that. But on Raphael, a character who's doesn't have any hope of doubling anyways, is not really gonna do much. But if you want to get Smite on him, you can definitely do that. The only combat arts I really recommend putting on are like Monster Crusher, Draining Blow, and like Healing Focus. So you could switch Healing Focus over Draining Blow and have Smite on there, or you can leave Draining Blow over Healing Focus and put Smite on there for that. Or if you don't really care about Smite, which you don't have to, it's more personal preference, you put on Healing Focus, and that way he can just heal himself up. And then you want to abuse the hell out of Fierce Iron Fist when you are a grappler. Master Grappler as soon as possible, give him a Knowledge Gem, and you just spam it. Spam it, spam, 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 spam. Fierce Iron Fist. It is a drug of a combat art. It is so good. 3 consecutive hits with a high strength. It's crazy. It's gonna be really good. Plus Death Blow, which gives you +6. Damn, +6 attack when you +6 strength when you initiate combat, which is now +18 because you're attacking 3 times. So yeah, it's great. Notable skills you're gonna want to put on your build would be Rally Strength, of course, so he's got good serviceable utility, can buff your other crazy good units in the class or in the house. Death Blow, of course, maximizes damage output. Hit +20 and Brawl Prowess, so you get rid of those shaky hit rates. And then Quick Riposte is the final one. That would be really good. You can do Wrath if you really want to. Say you're doing like Wild, if you really want to do some kind of, I don't know, give them some interesting crit things on enemy phase, but you have to be below 50 HP, so I wouldn't really recommend it. Honestly, no. Just kidding. I take that back. The last one I would recommend doing at least for a little while, if you want to minimize your damage received for a while until you get Quick Riposte, Armor Blow can be a very solid filler. If you want to get into Armor Knight and then master that. And yeah, that is gonna do it. You could also do Tome Breaker, but that's not really that effective because it's not gonna be avoiding things anyways. Just don't put him in enemy magic range. Like, he's gonna die if he's in anywhere in magic range. He's gonna die. So yeah, that's Raphael. He was it took a lot of research to kind of figure out how to make him good. I'm gonna be completely honest. He's not a great unit. He's definitely not a great unit, but he definitely benefits from a really good class, which is Grappler, which he has access to, and Monster Crusher can definitely help out. So their potential form is there if you really want to use them in Maddening mode, or even just like hard mode, easy mode, stuff like that. You can go ahead and use them. Pretty easy to set it and forget it in Maddening mode, which is a nice thing. And if you're playing through the Golden Deer route, he's free. If you're not playing through Golden Deer route, do not waste your time with him, because he is very hard to recruit, because he needs a C in heavy armor, and heavy armor is the hardest thing to train. So yeah, don't recruit him. But if you're playing through Golden Deer and you want to use him, you want to use everyone in your house, this is what I recommend you should do. Put him in Grappler, give him these skills, let him use these combat arts, and keep him away from magic at all costs, because he will just die. He will just fall apart. He will just gone, goodbye, adios, he's dead. And that is Raphael. That is the big hulking ugly guy wearing the Tims from Golden Deer out. Let me know who you guys want to see next in the next unit review. If you want to see another kind of meme character, I guess, some of these bad characters, somebody like Caspar or Ash, or whatever, something like that. Or if you want to see another good character, just let me know in the comments below who you want to see. Please like and subscribe. Always grows I love any support I can get. I want to grow my channel, make more content. Hopefully get to the point where I can start doing better edited videos, because I'm unscripted and unedited for the most part right now. If you want to see me play through any of my runs. Right now I'm doing Blue Lions Maddening No Magic run on my stream. Eventually I'm going to do a fresh file of Golden Deer, where you might actually see this Raphael in play. I don't know. Probably not, but you might. You might see it there at least. He could be... I'm probably just going to put him as a guard adjutant, which is another good thing. He can be a very easy guard adjutant. Or adjutant. Words are hard. But yeah, that's Raphael. If you want to check out the stream, it's twitch.tv/sane_j. Go follow me and check me out there if you guys want to see my streams. I try to stream whenever I can, basically. And yeah, that's going to do it for the video. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.